Rain tapped against the cafe windows like soft whispers of loneliness. It was late, too late for most people to still be out. The world outside was drenched. Neon lights blurring in puddles, and inside, a man in an expensive black suit sat alone at a corner table, staring at a half-empty cup of coffee that had gone cold an hour ago. He was the kind of man who once filled rooms with his presence. Richard Cole, 42, CEO of one of New York's largest tech companies. People used to lean in when he spoke. Now no one noticed him at all. His phone buzzed. Another message from his assistant reminding him of tomorrow's board meeting. He ignored it. The glow from the screen lit his tired face, highlighting the dark circles beneath his eyes. Success had taken everything from him. His marriage, his friends, and maybe his reason to smile. He glanced at the door. Rain trickled down the glass. Every few minutes someone came in, laughing, wet coats, messy hair. But no one sat near him. Maybe they felt his silence. Or maybe it was just easier to avoid people who looked like they'd already given up. And then a small voice broke the air. Excuse me, sir. Are you okay? Richard blinked. Standing in front of him was a little girl, maybe 8 or 9, holding a dripping umbrella and a paper cup of hot chocolate. Her brown hair clung to her face and her eyes were wide, not scared, just worried. No one had asked him that question in years. For a moment he couldn't speak. Then, almost without meaning to, he said quietly, "I'm not sure." The girl smiled a little, the kind of smile only children can manage, pure and fearless. "My mom says when people look sad, it's good to sit with them for a bit." And before he could stop her, she pulled out a chair and sat down. Richard stared at her, confused, curious, maybe even a little afraid of what this moment meant. Because for the first time in a long time, someone saw him. He didn't know it yet, but this tiny moment and this small act of kindness was about to change his life forever. The cafe had mostly emptied out. The jazz playing softly in the background echoed off brick walls, and the smell of cinnamon drifted from the counter. Richard Cole sat motionless. His life had been built on deadlines, profits, and headlines. But lately, none of those things filled the silence. The little girl sat across from him, her legs swinging from the chair, her small hands wrapped around a cup of hot chocolate. She looked up at him with curious eyes. "I'm Lily," she said, finally breaking the silence. "You look like my dad when he forgets his lunch." Richard almost smiled, almost. "Does your dad forget often?" She nodded. "All the time. He says he's busy making money so we can be happy. But Mom says we'd be happier if he just came home for dinner." That hit him harder than he expected. He didn't say it, but those words felt like they were meant for him. Richard glanced at her coat, worn out, the zipper broken, and her shoes, soaked from the rain. "Does your mom know you're here?" Lily nodded proudly. "She's cleaning the store next door. I bring her cocoa when she's tired." "I saw you sitting alone. You looked sad." He opened his mouth to reply, but something caught in his throat. For years, he'd hidden behind money and meetings, and now, a stranger's child could see through him in seconds. When Lily's mother appeared, carrying cleaning supplies, her hair damp, face flushed from work, Richard stood quickly. Their eyes met. She froze for a moment, realizing who he was. "You're Mr. Cole, right? From Cole Tech?" she said softly. "My husband used to work for you." Richard blinked. "Used to?" She smiled politely. "He was laid off last winter." It's been hard. Guilt burned through him. He'd signed hundreds of those layoff letters. He never thought about the faces behind them. "Until now, ma'am," he started, but she shook her head. "It's okay, sir. We all do what we have to." As they left, Lily waved. "Bye, Mr. Coffee Man. Hope you smile tomorrow." And for the first time in years, Richard did. Just a little. The next morning, Richard sat in his glass-walled office overlooking Manhattan. The city stretched below, loud, bright, alive, and yet he'd never felt so detached. His assistant, Chloe, knocked. "Sir, your quarterly board call is in 10 minutes. He nodded mechanically. But his mind wasn't on the numbers. It was on Lily's words. We'd be happier if he just came home for dinner. He minimized his report and searched the employee database. Her mother's name, Emma Sanders, appeared under maintenance contractors. Her husband, David Sanders, had been one of the employees laid off during the restructuring. Richard sat back. He remembered now. David had asked for a 2-month extension for his family. He denied it. That memory gnawed at him all day. That night, he went back to the cafe. He wasn't sure why. Maybe to find answers. Maybe to find something human again. And there they were. Emma wiping tables after hours, Lily drawing hearts on napkins. When Lily saw him, she lit up. "Mr. Coffee Man." "You came back." Emma looked up, startled. Richard offered a shy smile. "Just coffee this time. And maybe a cocoa for your assistant here." Lily giggled. "She's the boss tonight." Emma hesitated but finally smiled. And as Richard sat down, he realized this wasn't just coffee. This was connection. Over the next few weeks, Richard returned again and again. He told himself it was just coincidence, but deep down he knew it wasn't. Lily would talk non-stop about her drawings, her dreams, how she wanted to be a helper person when she grew up. Emma mostly listened, but her eyes softened each time Richard laughed at something Lily said. He hadn't laughed like that in years. One rainy night, Lily looked up from her sketchbook. "Mr. Coffee Man, why do you always sit alone?" Richard hesitated. "I guess." "I forgot how not to," Lily frowned. "Then you need friends." Emma smiled softly. Out of the mouths of babes. For the first time, Richard felt the walls he'd built beginning to crumble. He didn't know if it was the coffee, the rain, or this small, brave family, but something was changing inside him. One morning, Richard arrived early at the cafe, only to find it closed. A small envelope sat on the door with his name scribbled in childish handwriting. He opened it. Inside was a note. "Dear Mr. Coffee Man, Mom said we might move because she lost one of her cleaning jobs. I hope we can still see you. You make Mom smile again. Please don't forget us. Love, Lily." His chest tightened. Without thinking, he called his assistant. "Find out where Emma Sanders works." All of it. By noon, he knew. She cleaned 3 offices, worked 12-hour nights, and was barely making rent. Richard made a decision that shocked everyone. The next board meeting, he announced a new internal support program, Rebuild Together, offering financial aid and job reinstatement to employees affected by layoffs. But he didn't stop there. He made one anonymous call. "Emma Sanders," he said quietly to HR, "has been offered a permanent daytime position at Coltech. Full benefits." 2 days later, Emma walked into Coltech, confused but grateful. She had no idea Richard himself had arranged it. That evening, Richard visited the cafe again. Lily ran to him, waving her drawing. "Mr. Coffee Man, Mom got a new job. She says it's magic," he smiled. "Maybe just good people helping each other." Emma joined them, eyes glistening. "I don't know how it happened, but thank you for inspiring kindness in this world, Mr. Cole." He didn't answer, just smiled. For once, it wasn't about recognition. It was about redemption. A week later, Emma invited him to dinner. It was the first time anyone had invited him anywhere without wanting business. Their small apartment smelled like home-cooked pasta and vanilla candles. Lily showed him her school drawings. Emma laughed softly, more relaxed than before. He realized then success had given him everything except this feeling, warmth. When he left, Lily handed him a drawing, the 3 of them at a cafe table smiling. "I called it Family and Coffee," she said proudly. Richard's throat tightened. "It's perfect." A few weeks later, disaster struck. A storm hit the city, flooding parts of Brooklyn where Emma lived. Richard drove there himself, searching through the rain. He found them outside their building, soaked but safe. He pulled them into his car, brought them to his penthouse. Emma was overwhelmed. Lily was thrilled by the city view. That night, as they dried off and sat near the fireplace, Richard realized his house had always been big, but it had never been a home. Until now. Days later, Emma found out the truth. Richard had been the CEO who once signed her husband's layoff letter. She froze, pain flickering in her eyes. He told her everything. "I was blind, Emma. I thought success meant more than people." "I was wrong." Silence. Then finally she whispered, "You can't change the past, Richard, but you can build a better future." He nodded, and she stayed. A year later, Richard sold part of his company and opened a new cafe, Lily's Corner. Emma managed it. Lily decorated it with her drawings. On opening day, customers filled the place. Richard watched them. Laughter, warmth, and the smell of coffee in the air. Lily tugged his sleeve. You don't look lonely anymore, he smiled. That's because someone taught me how to sit with people again. The rain started outside, but inside everything glowed, because sometimes the smallest act of kindness can rebuild an entire life.